Hello and welcome back. I'm Dante Ferrigno and you're coming with me on my adventure on the lion diet. First of all, I want to say, if this is the first video you're watching, don't start here. You gotta go back to video number 1 to really get the full experience of this. Now, that being said, I want to say thank you for all the comments and suggestions I've had coming in. Many of them have been extremely encouraging. It's such a blessing to me to be able to be an encouragement to others. And if I've encouraged you in any way with these videos, then I've done my job here, and I'm thankful for that. So I want to start this video off with a question that I keep getting a lot, or even implied. What is the lion diet? Why do you keep calling it a lion diet? You don't eat raw meat and you don't eat zebras and gazelles and all that stuff. So obviously I'm not running around chasing animals and eating them raw. So why do I call it the lion diet? Well, to understand that, you'd have to understand where I was just before I found this diet and what led me to it. Late in October of 2020, I was starting to really feel some signs of depression from the gut issues I'd been having for the past year and a half at the time, and also from 2020. I mean, 2020 did a number on all of us. Let's just say it was a building of issues, and the biggest issue overall was my health. My gut was really affecting my mind too. Gut bacteria produce neurotransmitters of various kinds, as I've heard my good friend Jordan Peterson mention before in a video. And that's the best way of saying that the gut's the second brain, and it does have a big effect on your brain. It could actually lift you up or pull you down. Well, mine was pulling me down, and it was pulling me down hard. Plus the anxiety of my job and the stress of my job weren't helping any. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning many times. I had no will to get up, and I had so much pain that I didn't want to get up. It was very difficult to get moving. It was very difficult to take on my day, and it was causing me to be very angry and have a lot of resentment, and it was very tough to live with at that time. But then I found, I've been studying the word for many years, but there was just something I was missing about the knowledge and the application, and that's when I found Jordan Peterson. And Jordan Peterson helped me to understand my own psyche a little bit better. And that started to help me put into practice some of the things I already knew. Most of the things he says, if you have any common sense at all, they're exactly what you knew was the truth. It's just so rare to hear anybody say it these days, especially somebody in academia. It was very uplifting for me. It got bad in December. But January 4th was the first time I saw one of Jordan Peterson's videos as I scrolled back through my YouTube viewing history to figure out where I started on this path. A lot of the questions you guys have asked have helped me to want to go back and look at what got me here. During his GQ interview, I heard him say something very near the end, or rather the interviewer asked him about his all beef diet. And then he went into detail on that. That blew my mind more than anything he had said to that point, because I had been on Atkins before, but I was like constantly reminded, you got to have some greens every day, you got to have some fiber, you got to be able to take in this and take in that. But finding out that this was a possibility, that you could actually do this for long periods of time and have not only weight loss, but health benefits. The health benefits he listed off mirrored a lot of the ones that I was dealing with. And he had talked about in that interview where his daughter Mikhaila had been born with some issues, and that she had found this diet and that she had been the one who turned him on to it. So I started looking into Mikhaila Peterson and found out she was on YouTube as well. And when I heard her stories, and I'll link some of these videos in the description, so if you want to check out some of the videos that led me to this point, then please do that. It was actually on January 14th that I watched her video, Don't Eat That. I watched a couple other ones that day, but that was the last one I watched that day. And it was then that I started the diet. As a matter of fact, I remember that morning I didn't start off with a meat breakfast. I started out with my regular garbage breakfast, whatever it was. But I started at lunch, and by that evening, I had already started to feel better. I hadn't gotten rid of the depression yet, but I felt a lot better than I did. And I was excited because freaking meat was delicious, and it was like giving me energy. It was like a vampire sucking on somebody's neck and just getting that strength back. I remember watching a video, one of the videos in the description, that Mikhaila Peterson was talking to Dr. Sean Baker, and she had brought up a concern that I had when I thought about going all meat, which is scurvy. And he basically allayed all those fears. I didn't know about meat. I just knew it helped me lose weight the last time. And I figured it didn't have any of the stuff that you needed. That's why I had to keep stuffing greens down my throat. I think the key thing came when Dr. Baker said, eat whatever the hell you want. Because that ultimately is the thing that I have learned since seeing a lot of the comments, is everybody's got an opinion about what you should be eating or not eating. I didn't make these videos to force my opinion on you. I made these videos to show you what it's like for somebody who goes through a diet like this. I'm willing to be the guinea pig for you and for myself, because I needed this diet. I needed something to change what was going on in my life, and it has certainly done that. But what Lion Diet has cured me of is my high blood pressure, my depression, my obesity, my insomnia, my fatigue, my eyes. I had LASIK surgery 3 years ago, but I started to notice in 2020 that my eyes were getting bad again. And I was like, doggone it, now I gotta go get this thing re-looked at. But since I've been doing this diet, I realized something. I have not been using my readers when I read books anymore. And it dawned on me really just a couple of days ago that was serious, because I needed my readers to be able to read. My LASIK was good for far away, but my close-up vision wasn't fixed. I didn't do the thing where they do one eye different, because that sounded sketchy to me. But now my vision seems to have improved on top of everything. And then there were some new side effects, like I can go out and work all day in the sun with no sunscreen on, and I don't get a sunburn, nor have I any peeling of any kind. That's a strange one. I don't have body odor anymore. I haven't worn deodorant in 3 or 4 days, and I don't notice the difference. I didn't anticipate that being a side effect, but that's a nice one. Both of those are nice, especially because I like to dive. I like to go out in the ocean. I like to go to the beach, and I wind up working in the yard a lot, so I'm in the sun a lot. And I hate wearing sunscreen because I don't want to put chemicals on my body. I don't even want to put deodorant on because of the chemicals that are in the deodorant. But now I finally have an excuse not to. I may have had an undiagnosed autoimmune disease of my own, because the doctors couldn't figure out what was causing my gut issue. Now, when I had my gallbladder out, they put a mesh in here, and then a few years later, they had to, quote, replace it. Now, since then, I found out that you can't really replace a mesh. Once a mesh is in place, it's pretty much there because all your fibers and stuff get mixed up in it. So I don't know what they did in 2007, but I can feel something hard right above my belly button. And I can't help but think that that's having a bit of an issue on it too, a bit of an effect on my issues as well, because I still get angry very easy. And I didn't used to get angry quite so easy, but I've always had some anger issues I had to deal with. And it's Bible doctrine that's helped me overcome that. Praise God. And you know, between the vegan police and the meat police coming onto my page and making comments about everything under the sun, about what I should be doing, what I shouldn't be doing, this is the reason why I wanted to stick to this diet. Also, another reason I wanted to stick to this diet was it was simple. Ruminant meat, water, and salt. That's it. That's all you gotta have on this diet. So it makes it very easy. My grocery shopping takes about 10 minutes. And as much as I hate being in the grocery store, that's a good thing, because one, I spend too much money the longer I stay in the grocery store. I'm looking at stuff I know that's not good for me, walking up and down the aisles. Here, I just gotta walk to the meat section, grab my meat, walk to the water section, buy some bottled water, and I'm out the door. And with Scan and Go, I don't even have to wait to stand in line. One of the things Dr. Baker said that resonated with me, it doesn't matter really what you're eating. It just matters whether or not people are getting better or not. And then something Jordan Peterson said that really mirrored that idea is, I don't think we know a whole lot about anything. Because the more you dive into any subject, you find out that most of the people involved are just guessing randomly at what they're doing. And that's what it seems like everybody's doing with nutrition. I will say that if I ever have an option where a doctor says he's going to cut on me, I'm going to make sure that I know what the options are before I decide to go that route. Unless I don't have time. Maybe it's a medical emergency or something like that. But now I will address a little bit about why I think ruminant meats are the key for me, and they might be the key for you too. Again, everybody's a little bit different, and what works for you may not work for me, and what works for me may not work for you. But the thing about ruminants is two things. One, they're herbivores. Two, they have multiple stomachs. They're the animals that chew the cud. That has a lot to do with their digestion process. And ruminants really come into play when you're talking about grain-fed versus grass-fed, because everybody talks about the grass-fed being better for you because they're not eating all the garbage that's in the slop that they make for the animals when they do grain-fed. I don't know much about what they're feeding the animals. All I know is grain-fed is a lot easier to find. It's affordable compared to grass-fed. And then I found out grass-fed doesn't even mean grass-fed all the way to the end. It's got to be grass-finished. I'm like, oh my goodness, there are so many little things that you think you need to know. But ultimately, I didn't know any of that when I started this diet, and these are the results. I've lost all of those health issues, and I feel like $1 million. I feel like I did when I was 18, except I have the confidence of a man 48 years old. Ruminant animals have more digestive capabilities relative to what they're eating, and that's one of the things that makes them healthier to eat. I don't know if that's exactly true, but it sounds like it makes sense, and it seems to be helping me, so that's why I stick with that. When I watch my chickens eating cockroaches and flies and garbage off the ground and whatever else they can get their hands on, I can't help but think when I look at that chicken meat or that egg that I'm getting some of that garbage when I eat these. And you know, every diet that I've searched out since I've been getting comments and having questions and wanting to understand better myself, there's 1 million people that say it's great and there's another 1 million people that say it's terrible. So that gets back to what I was saying about Jordan Peterson, talking about the more we look into any one issue, the more we realize we don't really know anything about it. We got some people that think they know, and we got other people that think they know. They differ in opinion, and then they argue, and then there's still people who are getting results. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm just here to share my results with you. This experience has been a lot more than just being about diet change. It has supercharged me to be able to take on the dragons of chaos that have been in my life for a long time, and to be able to breathe easier and live free again. And a lot of that came from listening to Jordan Peterson tell me about some of the things that deal with our psyche and the dragon concept of letting a dragon grow in your house and not dealing with it. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Well, I had a lot of big dragons to deal with, and I didn't have the strength to deal with them with my health issues. But now I've got that strength, and I'm dealing with those dragons, and I want everybody else to know how to deal with their dragons, because we all have dragons in our life to deal with. Matter of fact, we all have the dragon to deal with, whether we know it or not. But I really started to understand the concept of not just not telling a lie, or not just telling the truth, but more about not lying, because you don't always know what the truth is when you're saying it. You know what you're thinking about it, but at least if you're not saying what you know is not true, then you're not hurting your own psyche. And I know I've been guilty of bravado in the past before, and that's something that I recognize in people, but it causes chaos. It causes chaos for you and those around you. So I've learned to be more precise in my speech, and that's one of the reasons I'm able to talk to you about what I'm talking to you about now, because that precision in speech is what I want to be able to deliver about this information. I want to be able to accurately communicate what's going on with this diet and how it's affected my life, my family. I mean, my wife has gotten on board with the carnivore diet. The kids are eating more meat and showing a difference from it. But the need for less junk food, which a lot of times this junk food wound up sitting in the fridge for a little while as leftovers, and it went bad quickly, so we wound up throwing it away. So as cheap as it is, it's not very cheap if you're throwing half of it away all the time. With the meat, we're eating everything. There's nothing left over. So that's true benefit right there, is that you're not wasting it all. You know, and a lot of the noise that I hear from people about what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing, a lot of this noise is created by these supplement manufacturers and these pharmaceutical reps who are talking to these doctors and writing articles and pushing for newspapers and other news organizations to push certain things because they want their money and they want your money, and you don't need to give it to them. I don't buy any supplements anymore. I bought these beef liver tablets the first week I was doing this, and that's how many I've taken, that I still have this many left over. I haven't been taking these regularly. I've taken them probably 6 times, and I take 4 of them when I do. I guess since I got them, I'll go ahead and take them, but I didn't notice any difference when I started taking these. So I'm going to keep it simple. I stick to my ruminant meat, water and salt. If I get some organs in there, it'll be luck, because I don't like the taste of organs, and I'm not excited about it. One of the things Dr. Baker talked about was the hard thing about this diet. I mean, there's already enough barriers because they see the cost of eating all protein. But then when you start talking about you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to be rigid in all these different ways, it's going to keep you from starting this diet because you're going to think it's just too much. This is actually very easy and quite inexpensive compared to what we were doing before, because I don't have to buy all the supplements. I don't have to buy all the medicine. I don't have to go see my doctor about all the complaints, because I had to see him once a month because I was getting medicine he had to see me once a month for. I was actually in CA, Carbohydrates Anonymous, because I am a carbohydrate addict. And I had to kick my addiction by going to all meat, because every time I've sampled some carbohydrates, they just creep right back in, like the way a drug gets into a drug user, or alcohol gets into an alcoholic. I had to cut my addiction. You have to come to that conclusion on your own. At least I believe you have to realize you have a problem and you've got to deal with it before you can deal with an addiction. And that's what I've been doing, and it's changed my life. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling amazing. I'm 203 pounds. I know I've put on some muscle since then, so that means I've lost even more than 75 pounds in fat, based on my best recollection. I mean, I didn't weigh myself when I started, because I wasn't doing this for weight loss. I was doing this to save my life. I felt like I was going crazy, and I was losing my job, I was losing my family, I was losing control. But this diet helped me get control again. 17 minutes at 370 degrees. Let's take a look here. See, the gristle comes out all tough. Listen to that, how you cut through it. It sounds like you're cutting through bone. I hate cutting off the gristle like that, because I like to eat the gristle. It's good for your skin, but this gristle is just too much. This is just too tough to chew. This is like bone. But I can't do it. Bria's happy about it though. Bria's like, if you think that's bad, you should try dog food. Right, Bria? Is that good? She's like, I love it. Gotta be faster than that, Bria. Fizz got it. Come here, Bria. I think I like The Chosen because I act like Peter more often, but I want to be more like Christ. Or maybe James and John, the sons of thunder, or Simon the Zealot. A little bit of all of them in me. Maybe that's the thing, there's a little bit of all of them in all of us. I'm gonna make it through this steak though. Spoiled Chihuahua. Bria don't complain about it. She's like, give me some more. Some of you may know that I was a administrator at a retirement home, assisted living type setting. But I've had to retire from that. I've had to leave that. The bureaucracy has gotten so ridiculous that it's impossible to take care of your residents. I don't even want to talk about it, but let's just say that you got one government entity telling you, you got to do this, and you've got to get assistance from a pharmacy or a doctor to get this done, but those pharmacies and doctors have no requirement to do what you're required to get from them. Even the government-run pharmacies are they're the worst, really, and they're causing a lot of the drug problem that's going on. I just couldn't stomach it anymore. I couldn't stomach all this insanity. I couldn't come up with any workable solutions for anything, because there's always somebody telling me, well, you can't do it that way, you can't do it that way, you can't do it that way, you can't do it that way. And that eliminates all the other pathways to succeeding. I mean, the combination of things that are going on are trying to protect the medicine and protect the people, but you've got to be able to give them the ability to work together. The medicine has to help the people. And then you've got the doctors prescribing medicine to treat symptoms rather than actually help them get better. I couldn't do it anymore. Yeah, my high school reunion is tomorrow. Bottom round steak. Fresh out of the oven. Problem with bottom round steak is it usually comes out tough. That's one of the reasons I like New York strip steak. But especially with prices going up, that's kind of hard to do all the time. All right, let's see how it came out. It's definitely more tender. A lot easier on my teeth. I could certainly do this a lot easier than I can just air frying bottom round steak or even eye of round. Normally this would be a very tough cut of meat to eat, or tougher than say a New York strip steak or a ribeye or especially a tenderloin. And with my teeth being the problem, it's really hard to want to eat those harder, tougher meats. So this is my first try of having something that wasn't in the air fryer and wasn't on the grill. Trying it this way to see how it tastes and how the texture is and how it affects my teeth. That was really good. Having a big chunk of fat in there made it even better. And this is about half the cost of some of the meats that I like to buy. Yeah, this really is, this is good. Thank you, baby. I'm only gonna wait to eat the rest because I just had a meal a few moments ago and I'm full. But I wanted to try this while it was fresh and it was the first time I'd had it so I could share it with you. Well, I went shopping yesterday, picked up, man, my ring just about won't stay on my finger anymore. I just realized that. Good night. I have to put it on my right hand so it won't fall off. Boy, it is so close to just sliding right off. I gotta get my ring resized. Oh well. Just one more just one more neat side effect of this diet. Anyway, I picked up some meat and I want to go ahead and take it out of the fridge. I've had it in there for 24 hours sitting in salt. I know I've had some comments about that, whether or not I should do that. Sometimes I just don't have time, but or I just don't prepare enough ahead of time, whichever the case may be. But I went ahead and prepared this one, so I'm going to go ahead and do some cooking up today. We got 4 ribeyes here and 3 New York strip steaks to cook up today. Let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to set this on 370 degrees for 17 minutes. With the thickness of these steaks, I think that should come out just right. I did get a meat thermometer. Somebody in the comments suggested this. I haven't even sat down and figured out how it works. I got the battery still out, but this is an instant meat thermometer, and I'm going to look into a recommendation one of the viewers put about getting it to, I think it was 130 degrees on the inside, and then letting it sit for about 10 minutes, and then it should finish up perfectly. Got some alcohol prep pads here. I don't know if I want to use a device that came from China on my food without giving it a good sterilization. Please peel off. Before using thermometer, please peel off, not peel off, P-I-L-L, off, the protected film from the front panel. To start the measurement, unfold the probe from its housing and the LCD will immediately display the temperature. Screw it, let's check it. I'm ready to do this, man. 118.8, so we'll put it in for a couple more minutes. The whole time I thought I was recording. I just pulled these other ones out. This is so good. The first one did come out well done, but it's so tender. I mean, this ribeye, is prime ribeye from Sam's, is amazingly tender and sweet. Mmm. 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 Somebody asked in one of the videos why I was wearing the gloves. I was wearing the gloves before because I didn't want to touch everything with the meat, raw meat on my hands. But even when I'm wearing the gloves, I'm still wind up touching everything unless I want to go through 10 pair of gloves. So I decided to take those gloves, which are way overpriced these days, and bring them to the retirement home so they can use them. because they're having a hard time getting the gloves they need. I can't stop. This is like candy. This is how candy should taste. Candy, I think it's an illusion in our brain that we like it. I know sugar, of course, tastes good, but many a times I've had a candy bar or something in the past and then felt like that wasn't that good. I think it's just the advertising and the constant pounding of this information that this is a treat, this is something that'll make you feel better, it'll make you happier, it'll make you whatever. If you eat this, like, what is it? One of them's like, if you're hungry, then you got to eat one of these or you're not yourself, you know? I mean, what a bunch of crap. Eat one of these if you want to be yourself again. I feel like Bill Murray and What About Bob. It's like a drug for happiness. I didn't think I wouldn't get it all over my shirt. I would just pour the. I'm busy for you guys more than anything, trying to put these videos together to get as much information that's useful and informative as I can, because this has changed my life, and I want to see it change your life. I want to hear about your stories. I've heard so many wonderful stories already from people who have told me how I have inspired them to try this and that they have done better. As I always say in all my videos, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. You're just seeing the results right here. I'm a whole different person than I was in January of this year, physically and mentally. And if it can do this much for me, put me in touch with my family again, build my spiritual life, my strength to have my spiritual life as a focus and not focused on all the negative crap, I want you to have it too. But I do have a question for my viewers, because as many of you know, I am not a cook and I'm getting used to this. I have a gas burning grill and I have the air fryer and I have this oven. I want to know what the hell to do with this. This is a 20.15 pound brisket. And I know brisket is delicious and juicy, and for the price per pound, you can't beat it at $4.98. Plus I got 15% off of that for buying it with the manager's discount for being early. It's USDA prime brisket. I don't want to ruin this big chunk of meat. Y'all give me some real suggestions where dry brining will work with this. I don't want to marinate it. I don't want to put anything on it that I'm not going to be thankful for. So if you have any suggestions as to what to do with this 20 pounds of brisket, I'll be looking for them. I also want to thank a couple of the people who left some comments. Somebody had mentioned about the difference between rare and medium rare, and medium has nothing to do with the way the meat looks on the inside. He was a cook apparently, because he talked about working in the back of the house and the frustrations with people sending them back. I had no idea. I thought it was because you always see in restaurants, they'll show a picture with the different pinknesses of it. And that's why I was getting confused. But apparently it has all to do with the temperature. If I just learn to use this thing right, I'll probably nail that down. So my thanks to Russell Bennett for suggesting the meat thermometer with the temperature settings. And then it was Mystic Knight who had recommended, or not recommended, but instructed me on the fact that rare, medium rare, and all of those settings for the steak have to do with the temperature, not with the pinkness. It was Griffith Handmade Knives had asked about the grass-fed, grain-fed thing, and that had been plaguing me too, because it was so hard to find anything grass-fed. I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Ultimately, I've decided not to worry about it, because one, it's too expensive, two, it's too hard to find, and three, I don't notice that much of a difference. As a matter of fact, when I tried grass-fed, I didn't like it as much as the grain-fed. All I know is I've been doing mostly grain-fed. I think I've had like 5 pieces of grass-fed meat the whole time, and the rest of it, I mean, that's like a day and a half of eating, right? Out of however many days, 162 days I've been doing this. And the beef I've had up until then has all been grain-fed, and I'm getting results. I still got a little belly I'd like to get rid of, but I'll get there. I'm not worried about it. Hello. Welcome.
Call from Ohio.
Hello?
Hi, yeah, this is Jane calling about your senior benefits on a recorded line. Can you hear me okay?
No.
So I do have a specialist here who will go over your options.
Guess you
Just
didn't
1
care about
second,
that.
please, while I connect you.
I simply recorded this so I could wear my Chosen shirt that I just got. Oh, there's a whole nother piece of meat. I gotta go look in the mirror and see if I can grab a hold of this thing. So my wife cooked this bottom round steak at 375 degrees
About an hour and a half.
for about an hour and a half. At least, I don't think zebras are on there. But gazelles are probably on there. They brought it to me. I had ordered it without seasoning and only salt, and add plenty of salt. Rooster threw me off. So we'll let these sit for 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna give them a try. I don't want to wait that long. And I got fat running all over the table. I don't even want to see that happen. I want to lick all this off of here. Luke!
Yes, sir.
Could you close the door? Well, that'll do it for this one. We'll talk to you on the next day or whatever I do. I don't know. Hell, I'm just